All right, welcome to Mastery Call. This is live. We're going to open up the chat right here and let's see who do we have in the room. Where are you calling in from? Go ahead and post your the country where you are right now. What do we got? We've got, oh my God, Nigeria, Slovakia, Canada, Dubai, Texas, Maryland, San Diego, Germany, Switzerland, London, Jamaica, South Africa, Mississippi in the house, South Africa again, Delta, Dubai, Nigeria, Ghana in the house. We've got Canada, Ohio, Mongolia, Nigeria again, Vancouver in the house. Welcome. Vancouver, Brazil in the house, Utah, Las Vegas, Italy, Israel, Paris, Africa, South Africa, New York, Mexico in the house. Welcome to the call. Hong Kong is also here. Welcome to Mastery. Hawaii, aloha. Russia, welcome. Macedonia in the house. My God, how many countries do we have here represented? It is packed out here. Kiev in the house. Who else do we have here? We're going to get started here in about a minute. You can send out a little chat to your leaders, to your partners. Let them know the call's getting started. And we're going to get, Colorado in the house. Lots of excitement here. If you're fired up, put a 1 in the chat. If you're fired up and excited, if you had a big week, put a 1 in the chat. Here we go. Woohoo! All right. We're talking. So everyone, welcome back to Mastery. This is week 8. This is our 8th week. We have already have 7 weeks back. I'll talk a little bit about the 7 weeks, but this is the Orem Foundation 90-day Mastery Series, and welcome. You know, in the last few weeks, I'll just go over a quick review of what we've covered. Week 1, we talked about the importance of the daily invitation. If you haven't mastered the daily invitation, go back and listen to week 1. And then week 2, we talked about, sharing your story and how to create value when you're representing Orem out there. We talked about on week 3, then how to follow up with not only just follow up, but follow up with confidence, following up, knowing what you're going to say when you follow up with your potential prospects. And then, of course, week 4, we created, I think, one of the important, very, very important strategies on how to create your weekly rhythm, how to create your weekly method of operation. What are you doing every single week consistently? And so again, if this is new to you, go back and listen to Mastery. Week 5, we talked about how to turn your customers into the community. How do you get your customers involved in the community? Week 6, we presented the Orem, how to do an introduction within 60 to 90 seconds. And I hope that you've mastered your simple 60 to 90 second introduction as you're meeting people out there, and what to do after you do the 60 to 90 second. If you haven't heard that one, go back to week 6. And last week, we talked about the importance of how to turn interest into action. We talked about everybody's going to be interested in having their digital assets, having their digital assets compound. Everybody's going to be interested, but how do you move that interest to action again? And today we're shifting our focus because we're going into talking about something, of course, very, very important. All of the topics are important, but in our 90-day game plan here, on this edition, we're going to be talking about expanding. You like that word, expanding your network. How do you expand your network from where it is right now? Bigger, better, faster, stronger. And we're talking both expanding on a local area. So in your locality, how do you expand? And more importantly, as you grow, as you get your weekly method of operation down, as you get your system put together that you're using, how to expand globally so that your community can grow into the 4 corners of the earth, everywhere around the world will love Orem. Now, because, growth really happens when brand new partners are consistently coming into your AI finance community. There's a saying that says, the new blood is the lifeblood, new blood of your business, the new partners that are joining your business, joining your community is the lifeblood of your community. So we want to continue expanding from week to week, from day to day, of brand new contacts that you're making. Now, let me ask you a question here. And I want you to grab a pen and a piece of paper and give a little bit of thought to this question, to yourself. Answer this question. Approximately, how many contacts do you have? All right, there's your question. Approximately, just guess in your head, approximately, and write that number down. Write that number down. Maybe it's 20, maybe it's 100, maybe it's 500. I don't know your number. You know your number, but write that number down on a piece of paper. All right. And I want to really address, I hear this a lot, I don't know anybody. I don't know anyone. Have you ever heard that? That's got to be the funniest thing, right? I don't know anyone. Well, how many people do you know? All right. Now look at the number that you wrote down. Write it down. Make sure you write it down. Don't be lazy here. Write the number down. How many contacts do you have? All right. Now we're gonna give you a scenario, right? What if you and I we're sitting across the table from each other, and I make you an offer. And my offer is, Bob or Frank or Sue, whatever your name is, right? I'm going to give you $1,000 per contact, as long as you can write them down on a piece of paper, right? And you got to know them by first name. They got to know you by first name. So when you call them, and if, for example, if I said Shane and they say, hey, hi, how are you doing, Shane? And I know at least their first name, it counts. There's $1,000. All right. So what if, and I'm going to give you 24 hours. So in 24 hours from now, you get your list together of how many people. You got to know them by first name, or it doesn't count. They have to know you also by your first name at least. They don't have to know your whole history. You don't have to be best friends, but you know them by first name. They know you by first name, and you're getting $1,000 per contact. Take a look at your number. And now write the new number of how many people you really know. I've done this with people. They say, I know about 100 people. And then I make this offer. Look, I'll give you $1,000. You got 24 hours to do this, and they come back and they say, I know 1,000 people, right? Of course you do. Because you think now that your list is worth $1,000 per name. And it's worth a lot more than that. All right. It's worth a lot more. Now, let me give you a personal story regarding the list that we're talking about here. Back in 2008, right? I started off the same way with nobody, no customers, no distributors, no investors. And I just wrote a list of 150. It took me 2 hours to do this, by the way. How long will it take you? Right, to list all your people. So just out of the top of my head, I started writing down people's names. Writing down for 2 hours. I started thinking, who else do I know? Who else do I know? Who else do I know? And my list, okay, I don't know about you, but my list, I had 156 people on my original list. 156. All right? That's where I started. Right? Advance 5 years, and what I did, I'll tell you my story. What I did is I circled on my list there was only 25 people on my 156 list that lived within an hour driving distance of my house at that time in Canada. All right. So I had a list of listen carefully to the strategy. 156 people on my list. You'll have your own story. I circled the people that lived within 1 hour driving distance of my house, and I circled them. Why did I do that? Because I wanted to meet with people face to face. I wanted to meet to explain, to see their reaction, to do, to tell the story, to do the 90-second, to do the 60-second introduction. You see what I'm saying? To do the introduction, to share the story with these people. So I called. This is what I did. And at that time, there was in 2008, I don't know if you remember, but the phone wasn't so popular. There's actually I had an office phone. And so I called the 25 people. I got through to 15. Picked up the phone, and 15 said they would come and visit me. on a certain day at a certain time, and 10 actually showed up. I don't know what country you're living in, but can you believe in Canada, 15 people said they were coming and only 10 showed up? I know it wouldn't happen wherever you live, but it certainly happened to me, right? But 10 showed up, which was awesome. And from that first meeting of 10 people, we grew. And then of course, I had 156 people on the list, but I started off with 10, and that group grew into 2.2 million people. Let me repeat. From the list of 156, my initial meeting was with 10 people face to face. Okay. And that grew into a group of 2.2 million people all over the world in 55 countries around the world. Okay. Tell me how much my list was worth. Was it worth $1,000 per name? No, maybe several $100,000 per name. So this is like as you develop your list, as you develop your contacts, as you meet new people, your list is like a bank account. That's the way I want you to look at it. Your list, the bigger the list, the bigger your bank account. If you don't have a list, if your list is small, I know 2 people, good luck with that strategy. But today we're going to talk about how to expand your network locally and globally. So wherever you are right now, it's okay. Okay, wherever you are, whether you're sitting there and you know 25 people or maybe you know 1,000 people, it's okay. And wherever you are, it's a start, right? We're just beginning, but it's only the beginning. We're only beginning the journey. Your network does not end up with who you know today. This is important. Your community that you're building is not going to end with the people that you know today. That's not how it works. Your network grows through, and this is huge, right? When you enroll a brand new partner, that's great. That's one person. But who do they know? Who do you think they know? Maybe they know 100. Maybe they know 1,000. Maybe they've got a massive Rolodex. It's the power of who do they know. So it's not just you going back to the list and developing your list. Yes, you have to have a list. You have to have a group. You have to have somewhere to start. But every new partner that comes in, they know a lot of people that you don't know. Does this make sense? I get fired up when I talk about this because this is leverage. This is how you grow a community, not through your personal efforts only, but through people that you're enrolling and you're asking them, who do you know? Right? And then you help them put together their list and so on. So, by the way, who do you meet from day to day? Who do you meet from week to week? You're always meeting new people. You add them to the list. Here's the key. You know them by first name and they know you by first name. So if you're, for example, at the grocery store and you're waiting to pay or something like that, and you meet someone in line, you're talking about whatever you're talking about. Might be talking about inflation for all I know. And then, oh, by the way, my name is Shane, and this person says, oh, my name is Bob. Okay, now they know my first name. I know their first name. They go on the list. All right. And also, who do you know on social media? Right? How many friends do you have on social media? How many people are following you on social media? This is a great platform also, not to pitch but to develop and culture your personal relationships, right? And so the Orem AI finance ecosystem really gives you a reason. It gives you a reason to reach out. Isn't it? And it's an exciting thing that there, before Orem came along, I don't think there was such a thing as AI finance, right? We're pioneering the AI finance sector worldwide, right? So the Orem AI finance ecosystem really gives you a valid business reason to reach out to your personal contacts, and you have to know. And this is why week 4 was so important. Again, if you haven't gone through week 4, I want to really encourage you to make sure that you have set up a proper weekly method of operation. And why is that? Because the weekly method of operation is going to give you a structure. It's going to give you a framework. It's going to give you a skeleton that you can start working through. Now, our goal and what we're trying to accomplish here is to add to the expansion, not only local expansion. What does that mean? Local expansion. Local expansion just means growing your community in your, for example, you might live in a village, or you might live in a town or a city. It also includes your region. What region are you a part of, or your province, or your state, or even your country, right? That could be considered local, because you're building in your particular country, and that's it. You're staying there. That's kind of local. So some of the simple ways to expand locally are really, the easiest way is just to reconnect with old contacts. Go through your databases, go through your phone is one of the best ways. You can just, if you have an Apple or if you have a phone and you have a directory in there, you could just see the total amount of people. If they're in your phone, chances are you know them by first name and they know you by first name. And if that's not true, delete them out of your phone. What are they doing in your phone, right? Also locally, for example, you can attend local events. You can attend, there's all kinds of meetups happening, different business meetups. And now you can run into not only old contacts, but you could run into brand new contacts. Again, remember the criteria. You got to know them by first name. They got to know you by first name. The other thing you can do is just ask current customers or current partners, for their referrals. You want to work with your current partners to talk about who they know. You want to talk to customers like, hey, who do you know that would be interested in learning more about AI finance? Are you getting the idea here on how to do it? Now, who do you know is one of the best, and write this down. You got a pen and piece of paper. One of the best questions to ask people is, who do you know? And I'm asking you, who do you know? Who do you really, really know? And I can't overstate the use of social media to connect with people in your area. And also when we go into talking about on a global network to expand globally, we can also do this. But for example, and there's all kinds of different social media platforms, but for example, you got your Facebook. Some people are on Facebook and they're friends, and these are supposed to be friends on Facebook. You reach out to them on Facebook and you start that communication. There's a more of a professional social media platform called LinkedIn. Some of you have LinkedIn accounts, some of you don't. And of course, there's Twitter. Which Twitter or X, it's better known as X right now. And one that's really, really popular these days is Instagram, right? People use Instagram like crazy. Well, if you're connected to someone on Instagram, then they most likely know you and you know them at least, so you can reach out in that way too. So you don't need to be everywhere all of the time. You just need to be intentional. You just need to be intentional about developing your list, developing your contacts, and that's a key right here. So you might say something like, look, I'm working on a project, it's called Orem, that connects people to an ecosystem with AI finance and a community, right? Just a simple, how long would that take? Maybe 5 or 6 seconds. You can ask, like, are you open to taking a quick look? Are you open to taking a quick look? Just even saying AI finance, most people are going to be open to take a quick look at, what is this? What does this mean, AI finance, right? So you might say something like, hey, do you know anybody locally here who'd be interested in a new financial or new financial technologies? Do you know someone who would be interested in a global opportunity, right? Do you know someone like that? And they might say, yeah, I know some people like that. Boom. Now you've got a whole new sphere to interact with. You've got a whole new dimension there. So local expansion is really about talking to more people where you are right now, right? You don't have to go outside, just where you are right now in your local community. You've got a whole series of people. And so that's a little bit, we're touching a little bit on the local part of it, but I think a lot of people and a lot of partners get really, really excited about expanding on a global basis when you're enrolling people in a country that you've never been to. That's exciting, right? The global expansion. But my high recommendation is master your weekly method of operation first before you start reaching out globally. If you can meet with people face to face and fine-tune your presentation, fine-tune your method of operation, fine-tune your system. First this happens, then this happens, then this happens. We've gone through all of that in the previous Mastery editions here, in the previous Mastery episodes. So global expansion is where the Orem model becomes even much Not more powerful, much, much more powerful. Because why is that? Because it's AI finance. We're talking about digital platforms. We're talking about this is all online. There's no product to ship. There's no product missing or warehousing and all the stuff. We've got Zooms as well. And the Zooms allow you to connect, just like we're doing right now live. We're on Zoom live, and it allows you to connect with people in other countries. And this is a perfect example that we have most likely well over 120 countries represented right here live on this call, and we're doing it in Zoom. Do you see how powerful that Zoom and this could be? And you're not even leaving your home. But my recommendation is master your strategy, master your 90 or 60 or 90-second invitation before you go out and enroll, so that in a global scale, because once you've got that nailed down, it doesn't change. Once your method of operation, your weekly method of operation, it really doesn't change, but you're just doing it on a global scale. Maybe they're in a different time zone in most cases. If you're talking to people in a different country, most times they're even going to be in a different time zone, but your system doesn't change. Your weekly method of operation doesn't change, right? So a few simple, I guess, global strategies would be to invite people from other countries to a live introduction. So, for example, you're talking to someone, maybe you're on Facebook or Twitter, or maybe you're on X, maybe you're on Instagram, and you start up a conversation, and then it might lead to, hey, there is a live introduction of this AI finance, and it's on Zoom. Can I send you the link so that you can join at a specific time? You see how simple that would be to do? Now, we're just combining everything that we've learned in the previous editions to come to this. I guess this episode is more about moving forward and growing. Other episodes, we're building the foundation, starting to put things together, building a strong foundation. Now we're building. Now the building's going up as we're learning to develop new countries and so on. All right. And so we talked about, again, using social media to build up relationships in other regions first. You can build up the relationship. You don't have to jump on the person right away and start pitching. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about getting to know the person. Who are they? What are the things? They might say something like, man, they might say even that they're sick and tired of being sick and tired of working so hard for their money and having their money sit in the bank doing absolutely nothing. Or you might kind of remind them that that's the reality of really what's happening. You can connect with partners who already have international contacts, right? You might enroll someone that already has a big international contact base. And you can also use the replays that are available, the recordings that are available for people in different time zones if they can't get on a live call like this. They just can't do it, but you can take the recording and you can send it over to them. All right? You may say something like, we have live Orem introductions. We also have replays that you can watch from anywhere in the world. You see what, by saying anywhere in the world, we're including that person no matter where they are in the world. Now, Orem's designed as a global AI finance ecosystem. It's already designed like that. It's not something that is new. It's already designed so that when you're ready, you can not easy, but easier. You can have an easier time by growing globally. Again, providing that you've mastered your weekly method of operation, you know where everything is, you know that the links that you want to send. Say it matters. You can pulse that we have different or about what talk to now. I think on every episode, almost every episode, we talk about these simple tools that are easy, and we're talking. I think the number one tool is a live introduction to Orem, right? So if you have, and where do you get the live introductions? You go onto the Telegram, the corporate Telegram group, and they're posting all of the time, all of the live introductions in all of the different languages. All you got to do is subscribe there, log in, and you can see. And the second choice that I would say is that somebody enrolled you. Okay, everybody's been enrolled by someone. So someone enrolled you. Who is that person and who enrolled them and who enrolled them, and find out, because as you go up, you're going to find someone that's already doing live presentations. They're already doing live introductions, right? And some people are doing live introductions in several different languages every single week. Some are doing live introductions every single day. Okay, some people are doing live introductions every day, and some people are doing a few introductions, but they're doing in different languages. All right, so these are some of the tools that you could use. It's my favorite, the live introduction. Also at the YouTube channel, you can go to @Orem Foundation, or I'm sorry, it's @Orem. You got to put that underscore foundation on YouTube, and that's a channel that has a lot of replays, and you can go through some of those replays, and you can just copy the link and send it over again, so that your person that's in a different country can watch the replay. So if they cannot get on a live call, or if they just want to have the information right now, you can go ahead and send them that replay. And there's also this call right here. We're live right now. We're live. The energy is here. I can feel it with all the countries that are here represented and being translated simultaneously. The weekly live calls here, but we also have, what do we have? The replays. So if there's a particular mastery episode that's important for your team, you can send them out, or for your prospects even to hear. And so again, why are we doing this? Because we're developing more of a leadership culture that continues to grow and grow and grow. When the leaders start to duplicate the simplicity of the system, you're going to see massive, massive expansion like we're seeing right now. So you don't need to be an expert in every country, by the way, to build in a different country. You do not need to be the expert. This is important. And some people and some partners say, well, I'm not really comfortable building in another country because I've never been there. You don't have to be the expert. You just have to be the one that introduced them, and then plug that person into the system that's already here. I hope this is making sense. I hope you're getting excited about that. So what are we doing? We're inviting again, we're connecting with people, and we're plugging them into what? We're plugging them into an existing system. What if you don't have an existing system? The system's already here. In week 4, we talked about your weekly method of operation. And in your weekly method of operation, you've got all the tools according to your schedule, according to your availability, according to what calls that you're on. And all you're doing is plugging the brand new person, no matter what country they're in, into the system that you're already using. I hope this is making sense. So here's a few questions that I'll give you that can help expand on a global basis. You can say something like, who do you know in other countries? Who do you know in other countries that it may be open to new opportunities, right? You can say, you can ask the person, do you have any contacts who are interested in AI, or who are interested in crypto technology, or who are interested in new financial technologies, for example, just out of curiosity. And again, it might remind them, yes, I know this person, I know this person, I know this person. You could say something like, look, if I send you a short Orem introduction, I'll send you a link. Would you be open to sharing it with someone who, a few people, for example, who that are in a different country? Again, because knows a lot of different people, and they enroll someone who knows even more people. I hope you can see that's the power, and that's the leverage of having this, direct sales, this affiliate, this network effect, right? And so what I want to do now is I want to give you as a partner a weekly challenge. What is it that we're working on this week? What are we working on this week for the next week that will help you, build your networking muscle, right? And so here's your challenge for grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. This is what you're going to attempt for the next 7 days. And really you want to, apply what we're talking about, but you want to make your list. Just really write it down. Make a list of at least 10 new potential contacts in your local area, right? Like I did when I wrote down my 156. and I focused on the 25 people that lived within an hour driving distance of my house. Why? Because I could sit down face to face and talk to them, right? So who are, for example, 10 new potential contacts that are living, locally, all right? And for some of you that have already built local businesses, and for some of you who have already you've got your weekly method of operation down, then you can do the same. Who are the 10 global, people that live in different countries? You could work on the global part, and what you want to do is you want to reach out to at least 5 of them with your simple Orem invitation. Remember, we worked on your invitation, that 60 to 90-second invitation that gets their attention, and then you follow your system, follow the link. Depending on what language you're in, depending on where they are, you're going to send them a link so that they can either join on a live Zoom or that they can watch the replay. So you want to invite at least 2 people from outside your city, from outside your country to join you on a live introduction Zoom, right? I don't mean that you're doing the live Zoom. I'm talking about that you're inviting them. So you're going to be on a live Zoom with someone that's already doing Zooms in your language, and you're just going to invite them. So after the Zoom, you can follow up with them and ask what they like best. You can ask if they can see the opportunity, and you can also ask them if they'd like to get started, right? So ask at least even your customers that you have that are not necessarily building the business, or they don't want to. It's not in their interest. They're just not interested. It's not their thing. You might ask that customer, who do they know? Even one person that they refer you to could lead into several hundred or thousands or tens of thousands. It's just incredible. And that's the power, again, of leverage. All right. And so the next thing that you want to do, I hope I'm not going too fast here, but you want to bring local expansion. When we talk about local expansion, and you want to maybe for this week, at least have one person that you're focused on locally and one person that you're focused on globally in the next week. Okay, you can do this. And this is pretty exciting. I hope you're finding this exciting. I hope that you're fired up about building your business bigger, better, faster, stronger. And really, this week is really about thinking bigger, and keep it simple. I can't stress this enough. By now, if you've been on any of these calls, you know that our philosophy is keep it simple. What is the vision? Again, we want to create 1,000 new millionaires that are not millionaires right now. And we're looking for 1,000 volunteers who put their hand up and say, hey, I want to be a millionaire. How? By using the platform, using AI finance, and also by promoting or by introducing AI finance to people that have no idea what AI finance is. All right. And now the next step is we like to do is that's for you. You now have your homework. You know what to do in the next 7 days. The focus is very, very simple. But now what you want to do is you want to now turn the focus to your team, to your partners. Now, some of you on this call, I realize, are just getting started. That's fine. And some of you are growing pretty good teams, and others are growing huge organizations, right? But you want to get to your partners. Now we're talking about your partners, people that are involved, that are growing their business, that want to grow their business, that want to build a financial wall around their family that nothing can get through. And this is what you want to do. You want to help them create their list for their local community, right? You want to say, hey, let's work on your local list. Let's create a list together. And you can do this on a Zoom, or you can do this if they're locally face-to-face over coffee or something like that, right? And then you want to make a separate list of who they might know for their own global expansion. So what you're doing as a partner is that not only have you, put your system together or your list together and your plan together in terms of your contacts, but now you're taking it to your partners and you're going to help them learn and understand what you now know because you've already done it. Okay, I hope this is making sense. You want to practice. You want to practice. Simple expansion questions. You want to choose at least, again, one new country. You want to help them. Hey, who do you know in a certain country, or who do you know in this country? But help them zero in maybe on one country, or help them zero in on one region that they'd like to start developing. right? What about if they, for some people that like to vacation, right? Who do you know in Hawaii? Imagine building your ecosystem and building your community that started growing in Hawaii, and heck, it got so big that you had to go visit them. Wouldn't that be? What places in the world would you like to visit? What places in the world, right? And these are kind of ideas, or what places in the world have you always wanted to go to? And maybe you can focus on that particular country as the group in that country starts to grow. Now you may even want to go and visit them and support them personally. All right. All right. And you can also, do something like, hey, we're going to do an event and it's going to be called the International Guest Night. It's going to be a live Zoom, and we're going to invite all, at least have to invite 30,000 people, things that you could do to help you expand your business on a global basis. All right. So when your expansion becomes part of your culture, when your local when you have your system together and you've got a local method of operation for your expansion and you've got a global method of operation, it becomes a part of your culture. It becomes a part of your community, just as it is with Orem Foundation's massive global community that's just growing faster and faster every week. And so when you're doing this, you can grow far beyond your personal starting point. Even if we say today is your personal starting point, we can grow much, much, much bigger just by applying a few simple strategies. And I want to remind everyone also that this mastery call is live every week at the same time. I believe that the energy is always on the live calls. You can feel the energy in the room here as we welcome people to the call. But we do also have the replays. So if you're on a call, that's important. You can grab that link. It usually goes up onto YouTube on our playlist, usually 2 or 3 days after the recording is complete. We then post it up. So the people that are on the live calls kind of get the information first so you can get started and so on. So the replays are always available. Where do you find them? Again, you have to put the symbol at Orem_Foundation. It's on the YouTube channel. You can go to the playlist and so on. So what does this mean? This means that you can introduce someone local from a global standpoint tomorrow. And then you can also then follow up with both of them using the exact same system. I can't stress this enough, that we're not changing the method of operation. We're not changing the system. We're just changing whether it's a global person or whether it's local. Okay? So that's the power. That's the power of this digital ecosystem, that we're not shipping a product. It's a click of a button and that's it. It's such an amazing, and I'm impressed with this entire ecosystem and how fast that our partners are growing both locally, and now we're seeing a lot more people going into the global expansion. I thought this call would be appropriate here. So what are we going to do? Next week, by the way, what are we talking about? We're going to focus on leading by example. All right. We're now going to get into more of a leadership. I'll tell you what, I've studied this industry for many, many years. I've studied success for maybe 20 or 30 years, but I've also studied success as it relates to network marketing, as it relates to direct sales, as it relates to affiliate marketing for about 20 years now. And if there's one word that would, in my opinion, be the one word that if we can just master this one word, what would it be? I don't want the 17 different rules of what, if I can only focus, and I'm going to ask you the same question. If you can only focus on one word, that if you can master this one word, if you can master this concept, right, would have the biggest impact on the growth of your network. What would that one word be? And people say, well, it's positive mental attitude, or you could say it's goal setting, or it's this or it's that. But if you really think about it, and what I came to the conclusion after all these years of research, if there was one word, what would the word be? It's leadership. It's leadership. As you develop your leadership, as you develop your personal leadership, everything changes. Everything changes. Why? Because, I often say, and Mariana, my wife, laughs every time I say it. I said, look, if you look behind you and there's nobody there, you're not leading anything. You're just taking a walk. right? And a lot of people say, I'm a leader, and you look behind them and there's nobody following. There's nobody there. They're not leading anybody except in their own minds, right? So next week we're going to be talking about how your behavior really sets the tone. How to be a partner, and how to be the actual partner that you want to attract. And I'll talk about again in much more detail, but who do you want to attract? What type of partner in your ultimate reality, right? What kind of partner would you like to attract, right? Make a list of those qualities, and let's see if you exemplify these particular lists. This is huge, right? We'll be talking about all of this and how that again, one of the most important topics is your consistency, day after day, week after week. Afraid of people over a what? Over a time. What you're doing. Are you consistent with your weekly method of operation? And so I want to encourage you to come back ready, to bring your expansion stories, to bring your team, of course, to bring your focus. And the most important thing is always bring enthusiasm. Nothing great in life will ever happen without enthusiasm. So in week 9, it's going to really, we're going to start to delve into the power of leadership and what that can mean to your business, right? And so let me conclude this episode with this, that your network right where you are right now is bigger and much bigger than your current contact list. Let me repeat that. This is so important. Your network is much, much, much bigger than your current contact list. Yes, you have to have a contact list. Yeah, you have to be on purpose, but it's not who you know. It's who do they know, and who do they know, and who do they know, and they know, and they know. And that's how you get rapid expansion. That's how you grow your business and your community bigger, better, faster, stronger. All right. And so your reach, the reach that you have right now is much bigger than your town or your village or your city. It's much, much bigger. Your impact is bigger than your first, the initial circle that everybody starts off with, friends and family and people, like that. It's much, much bigger. And with Orem and the AI finance ecosystem, you've got a global story to tell, right? This is not a local story. You can tell it locally, but you really have a global story to tell. You've got a digital platform that's unlike anything I've seen. And you've got this amazing thing that we're calling AI finance that speaks to an entire worldwide audience. Every single person, doesn't matter what country they're in, it doesn't matter what language they speak. We're talking about AI finance that speaks to that worldwide audience, no matter what the culture, no matter where they live, no matter what the language. And so this week, I want you to think even bigger. And I know many of you are thinking big, but I want you to really focus on thinking even bigger. I want you to start thinking about reaching wider. Yep, it is simple. It is simple, but you gotta stay consistent. That's why we talk about consistency over and over and over. And I want to just take a second here to thank everyone. I want to thank the translators. They don't get enough credit. All of the translators that are translating in real time. And sometimes I go so fast because I get so fired up. But thank you for expanding also. Thank you for the partners, for expanding Orem Foundation. Our community is growing very, very, very fast. And I'll see you in week number 9 of the 90-day Mastery Series. And have an amazing week. And again, we'll see you right here next time on Orem Mastery. And bye for now. Let's go.